whole concept you have is based on something we call growth mindset. Yeah, because you're aiming to expand yourself, not just stay in a comfortable position, but you expand yourself through different experience, and because of some circumstances, you become an entrepreneur, you know, and then you develop your business and continue to grow. So what does it mean to you as growth mindset? What's your definition of growth mindset?
So open mind and curiosity to learn and discover new things definitely plays a big part of my life now. And above all, I think I have more humbleness than what I used to have before. And I start from the point of view that we are all equal and I can learn literally anything from anybody. So I am just open to the fact that I may learn things from people that I would not expect to learn things from in the past, having my own mindset that had a lot of prejudice. So taking that prejudice aside and just believing that we are all capable and all equal has changed my attitude a lot.
Right, yeah. So you talk about you put aside your prejudice. How do you do that? Because sometimes, you know, many people, I did before, I felt struggle to put aside my prejudice. Whenever people would talk, I would have already something in my mind to say, oh, I have a judgment on that. So how can you overcome that?
I think it just naturally appears because that's how our brains have been programmed, but I just don't listen to it. I just ignore it. If it appears, I'm just like, no, that it's nonsense. Like, don't believe it. I guess if I had a doppelganger inside of myself. No, but it's actually true. I just ignore those thoughts that I recognize as thoughts that I don't want to identify myself with. And I just ignoring them, not giving them any credit, I think gradually eliminates them as well. I don't think I have so many negative thoughts or prejudices about people or some outcomes in particular as frequent as I used to have them in the past. So let's see how it goes. Maybe I will manage at some point. For now, of course, we are humans. They still appear. It's just, I think the important thing is what you do with them.
Right. So the awareness you have, like you when you realize you have a thought that might be a prejudice or a bias or something, so that kind of awareness, is it something that you already have, or you build up your awareness, and how do you build awareness?
I don't think I've always had it. No, I would definitely say no to that question, especially I think between like my late teenage years, early 20s. I think I was quite unaware. Yeah, maybe a little bit too much, I guess, at times. But I think it just comes with education, because you search for answers, you are curious, you don't know many answers to many of the questions that appear in your head. And it just leads you to all the answers. And while you learn, you develop mindfulness of what's going on in your brain. I think it's just, I think in my case, it came with education. So the more I read about it, the more aware I was of what's going on in my head.
Right. Education. Yeah. So it's really important that we keep learning about ourselves and learning about how to be more aware of thinking. That will help
definitely.
us.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to say that it's gradual, because some things that I believe now, if you told me the same things 5 years ago or 3 years ago, not even that long ago, I would say, oh, what are you saying? No way, I don't even believe in that, because I think it's just your own journey that you just come to certain conclusions And if you are told by somebody, you're like, I don't believe that, you know. It's just a process that step by step introduces you to the new version of your brain, of yourself.
That's good. That's also one of the aim of growth mindset is to make us become better and better. And
Yeah.
and
what about you? How do you deal with your thoughts then? Because maybe I'm missing out on something that I can learn.
I used to be a very judgmental person, you know, and there's still time that I struggle with it, but I'm more aware of it, of my thinking. So I started with learning mindfulness, because by learning mindfulness, I will put my focus on the present, not the past or not the future. Because if I used to focus on many things in the past, happen in the past. So when there's something happen, I would keep replaying and replaying, and that made me feel more anxious or angry or whatever negative feelings. But when I practice mindfulness, that is the time I focus. Okay, this is the moment that I'm in. It's nothing do with the past, nothing do with the future, and at this moment, everything is good, everything is perfect. So the learning of being present make me realize, okay, I can catch my thoughts immediately when there's something flying through. That's an exercise I did one time when I did the mindfulness exercise. So it's just like focusing on your breathing, keep breathing and keep breathing. And the narrative suddenly said, okay, now see what is in your mind. And that moment, I discovered that there's nothing in my mind. It's so empty. So that is the time that I realized the power of mindfulness. And I keep doing it every day, at least once a day, to make sure that my brain is wired to focus on the present instead of any other time. Yeah. So that's how I keep my awareness.
Yeah, I think I'm quite with you. I think you just said it much better. You explained it in more details. Yeah, that's a good answer. I think what I intended was very similar to what you've just said. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're all on the same path, and we keep learning about it. And yeah, I hope that by sharing more, people would understand more, and both of us also learn with each other. And yeah, so that growth mindset, one of the aim is help us to improve. And so from your perspective, what attitudes you have that help you become better and better?
I guess there are many like small elements of my life that I've changed. But I think one of the ones that I can definitely say it's a big part that is changing a lot, and I see big results of that, is saying yes to things that in the past I would have said no to, just because of my, well, mostly it's uncomfortable things or things that I would believe, oh no, it's better not to do them, just because of some story going on in my head that doesn't even have any confirmation in reality. It's just something that I told myself. So definitely changing that, it's bringing a lot of results in my life. For instance, I wouldn't even have said yes to your interview when you asked me, because I would have already some story running in my head saying, oh no, me, why an interview with me? Oh, what can people even learn from me? I would just have some stuff that I told myself, and they are blocking me from doing something that now I don't see the reason of why not doing them. So saying yes to uncomfortable things is, I think, very important. And also when saying yes, leaving aside your prejudice or your judgment on the outcomes of what that can bring you. Because if you just get rid of it, things that you would have never expected to happen will happen. And that's quite interesting and makes your life more, yeah, interesting is the word I think that I'm looking for. So yeah. That's one thing. Another thing is never assuming that I know everything, because I used to be a big smartass in the past. And I think being a person that assumes she's very smart or she's very smart loses a lot of opportunities to learn. So I definitely don't like this attitude now, and I know that I've had it in the past. So I think more humbleness and basically openness to knowledge, and not praising myself on things that I may know. Yeah, I would say that's the two most important things at the moment.
Yeah, really admire what you say, you know, the humbleness. And also you talk about, you know, when you feel the fear, like there's something that is, you don't know whether I'm good enough to do this, but that kind of feeling actually is helping you to see, okay, if I can break through it, it's just like a wall in front of you. If you can break through it, although there's maybe some uncomfortable feeling, but when you break through it, you become much better and much stronger. So yeah.
I've always heard people saying that, and I never, I think, fully understood until I started doing that myself. Like even when it comes to my business, I remember that I had huge fear around social media, and with my business coach, he was like, you need to get on social media. I mean, you will not have any exposure. And for me, it is still a huge thing that I am overcoming now. Just because it's not something that I used to do in the past, and it doesn't come naturally to me. And it's just something that I know it's useful, because sharing your knowledge is always useful. But just because of some thoughts or opinions that I have in my head, for some reasons, I used to think that it's not a good thing. So it's something that I'm overcoming. And the more I overcome it, I'm like, why was I even scared of? Like, there's nothing to be scared of. I don't understand why would I have that fear. The same with your interview. When you first mentioned it, I was like, what? You know, a story going on in my head again. But then I was like, yeah, why not? I'm saying yes to everything this year. Well, not to everything, but to, you know, reasonable things, or maybe unreasonable, depending on the person. But yeah, let's say sane things.
Yes, good. I could see that, you know, because of your the change of your mindset, that really help you to become more successful. Yeah.
Definitely. And also it's so easy to connect with people, because if people know you, people know who you are, you just give them the opportunity. You also share your knowledge, you know, you just don't keep everything to yourself, which is another way to connect with people. So yeah, definitely it's a big thing, like going out of your zone. But it's difficult though, you know, like if I remember my beginnings, and it's not that I am in an advanced stage now. I'm still learning everything myself, and I think it's just the first step is always the most difficult, but then also to continue doing the things that are uncomfortable is another level as well, because you constantly need to push yourself into something that is not natural for you or uncomfortable for you.
Right. Good. So as you just mentioned, well, what you used to have a feeling like when people asked you to do something you haven't done before, you will think, am I good enough? Am I good enough? You know, that kind of feeling. So many women will have that kind of thinking, I'm not good enough. So how do you see your self-worth